The MCU has shown us a whole armory of dangerous weapons. Some have been created by humans, some by Asgardians, and some are cosmic in nature. In today's Marvel-filled content, we'll be looking at 25 of the most powerful weapons in the MCU. The list is in no particular order, as each item is dangerous in its own way. So let's get started. Kicking off our list, we have the item that caused the most problems. When the Infinity Gauntlet is decorated with each of the 6 Infinity Stones, this item turns its wearer into a god. Well, as long as they don't perish with the vast power from the gauntlet, that is. With just a thought and a snap of 2 fingers, Thanos wiped away half of life in the Marvel Universe. This act demonstrates the extraordinary power that this weapon contains. The wearer has control over reality, time, space, power, mind, and the soul. Reality is just a toy to the person that holds the gauntlet. If a person is unable to cope with the power, well, just look at Iron Man in Endgame for that outcome. Is there a more iconic weapon in the MCU? Cap's shield has saved the day multiple times. The shield itself is made from
vibranium.
This rare metal is incredibly strong and lightweight, which makes it perfect for a shield that can also be thrown. Wakanda is so technologically advanced thanks to this metal. Cap's shield has inspired the Avengers as well. Seeing the red, blue, and white pattern on it has spurred the heroes to save the day many times.
It is led to a fight, and a duel is due, and the red and the white and the blue come through when Captain America.
Whilst this weapon is not known for its destructive abilities, it can turn the tide of a battle another way, which can make it just as dangerous. Now that Steve Rogers has passed the mantle to Sam Wilson, we get to see the former Falcon use the shield to inspire the world. Stepping away from the films, we have a Marvel weapon from the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The Berserker staff is an Asgardian creation. When a person touches the staff, its technology grants them superhuman strength. The staff taps into the person's rage and amplifies it. This increases the adrenaline and aggression along with the strength of the person. This turns them into an angry, strong person that doesn't respond to reasoning, which is great when used in a pinch, not so much as a long-term option in battle. The staff also brings horrible memories to the forefront of the person's mind too. Fun, right? Due to the negative side effects, the weapon was considered too volatile to use. The original Hammer of Thor. Mjolnir was crafted by dwarves in the heart of a dying star. This item was used by Thor to channel the vast power contained within him. Mjolnir was made from a godly metal known as Uru that was considered indestructible. Well, that was until Hela came along in Thor Ragnarok. The hammer was also enchanted by Odin so that it could only be lifted by someone worthy, which kept the hammer's destructive capabilities out of the hands of evildoers. Mjolnir also seemed to be sentient to some degree, flying towards Thor on his command from huge distances. Mjolnir also increased the power of Captain America when he picked up the enchanted hammer in Endgame. That was pretty great. Speaking of hammers, next up we have the Kozma Rod. Ronan, no, not Hawkeye's alter ego, but the villain from the first Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain Marvel films, wielded this weapon. In Guardians, Ronan adds the Power Stone to the Kozma Rod to make it even mightier. Without the stone, the Kozma Rod can fire concussive blasts. With the stone, it can fire energy blasts and even destroy whole planets. The Power Stone can be a corroding force when held in the person's hand. The Kozma Rod was able to withstand the stone's vast power and allow Ronan to gain the full benefits. It took another incredibly powerful weapon to destroy the Kozma Rod, more on that later. Which means no more hammer time for Ronan. Well, that and he was also destroyed in the Guardians film. Tony Stark is a master of creating Iron Man armor. In Endgame, we saw the final Mark LXXXV, or the 85th iteration of his creations. The abilities of the armors range from repulsor blasts, thrusters, to surviving a Hulk attack. Each variation has its own set of powers that Tony can use. The armor has even gone toe-to-toe against Thanos as he held the near-completed Infinity Gauntlet. Beyond Tony, we also have War Machine and Pepper Potts' armors to throw into the mix. Stark's armor has saved lives countless times throughout the MCU's history, but it can also be modified to cause horrific destruction. Tony has the knowledge, he just needs the motivation and the reason to do so, and also his last moments in Endgame to be reversed. Loki left a massive impression when using his signature weapon. The Sceptre arrived on our screens in the first Avengers film. Straight away, it was a problem for Marvel's heroes. It was able to control the minds of Hawkeye and Eric Selvig. Once they were turned into Loki's puppets, he was able to force them to do his evil bidding. The Sceptre actually contained the Mind Stone, which gave the weapon its mind-controlling ability. As we've seen with other stones, they have the potential to destroy the person directly holding it. The Sceptre filters out the stone's destructive capabilities. On top of that, the Sceptre fires out lethal energy blasts. The weapon can damage a person's mind and body, making it a double threat. The Eye of Agamotto works differently than it does in the comics. In the comics, it's a powerful mystical item on its own. In the MCU, the Eye is actually a container for the Time Stone. Similar to the Sceptre, the Eye of Agamotto protects the one who holds it from the corrosion of the stone's power. This allows the wielder to use all the fun benefits of manipulating time without any of the nasty downsides. Doctor Strange inherited this device from his mentor, the Ancient One. He would later use the Eye to figure out how to beat Thanos in Infinity War and Endgame. The stone can also reverse and even stop time, making it one of the more powerful Infinity Stones around. Thor: The Dark World isn't remembered too fondly by MCU fans. Mostly, it's considered one of the poorer entries in the MCU. However, the film did show us one of the most powerful grenades in existence. The Dark Elves used the black hole grenades to cause a lot of problems for the Asgardians. When it detonates, the grenade causes a gravitational singularity to form. It then sucks in everything within 2 feet. Anything unfortunate enough to be pulled in is wiped from existence. This happened to Curse thanks to Loki planting one on him.
See you in hell, monster.
Curse was a very powerful villain in the film, so if the grenade could easily destroy him, there's not much it won't be able to obliterate. The Destroyer is an Asgardian enchanted automaton. Essentially, it means it's a mechanical robot. It was used to guard the contents of Odin's vault from thieves. As there are a lot of dangerous items in the vault, a dominating guard is a smashing idea. One of the more powerful tools that the Destroyer has is an Odin Force Blast, which radiates from its head. Odin is powered from an immense energy known as the Odin Force. This ability to channel the Odin Force makes the Destroyer a dangerous foe. On the defensive side, the Destroyer has retrograde positioning with its armor, which means it can rearrange its armored body to protect its weaker areas. It's already highly durable, so this extra defense makes it scary. The Hadron Enforcer was created by everyone's favorite trash panda, Rocket Raccoon. This massive gun was built from spare parts in Star-Lord's ship. With Ronan causing all sorts of trouble for the Guardians, Rocket created a weapon to beat the Power Stone-infused villain. Ronan managed to survive the impact thanks to the stone. The Hadron Enforcer fires Hadron particles that explode on impact. When Rocket presented his newly created weapon, he stated that's for if things get really hardcore, or if you want to blow up moons. Which shows just how strong the shooter is. On the downside, it seems to only be able to fire once before needing to be reloaded. However, the power it discharges is scary. The Book of Cagliostro arrived in the MCU as part of the Ancient One's vast magical library. It's an almighty book that focuses on the dark arts of magic. The villain in the Doctor Strange film, Caecilius, goes on a crusade to capture the literature. The dark magic is the reason for his evil-looking eyes. The book contains spells that can boost a person's power and draw energy from the dark dimension where Dormammu rules. The Ancient One secretly used this ability to vastly extend her life. In the wrong hands, the book can give a person an infinite level of magical power. Luckily, Doctor Strange is currently in possession of this written wonder. Hopefully it stays that way and he doesn't go over to the dark side. The Eternal Flame sits comfortably within Odin's vault, yet it's not exactly powerful in its destructive ability. Although it's pretty cool that the flame can never be extinguished. However, it's what the flame can conjure that makes this treasure scary. When the crown of Surtur is placed in the flame, the fire demon entity is summoned to Asgard. On top of that, Surtur is restored to full power. The crown and eternal flame recipe also makes Surtur immortal. With his arrival comes Ragnarok, the end of Asgard. The flame also has the nifty ability to resurrect the deceased. Hela was able to bring to life her fallen army and wolf, Fenris. It's amazing that one item can be the catalyst to so much destruction. Nope, this isn't a joke entry. Bear with us as we blow your mind on the reasoning it's on our list. Black Widow has a bracelet on each hand that are called the Widow's Bite. These bracelets contain a couple of interesting disabling tools, such as electrocuting an enemy by touch and firing out a charged disc. Black Widow was able to take out all sorts of enemies with this weapon, such as the Chitauri and Thanos' forces. Not to mention, she's used the weapon to take down numerous humans. Black Widow is also a spy that will save the day without anyone knowing. She would have used the Widow's Bite to achieve just that, time and time again, which makes this non-lethal weapon pretty powerful. Previously owned by the Frost Giants, Asgard took the Casket of Ancient Winters for themselves and hid it in Odin's vault. With its destructive potential, that was probably a good idea, although Odin stores far too many dangerous weapons there. The Casket of Ancient Winters does what the name suggests. It contains a mass amount of icy weather force. It can destroy an army with its frozen icy weather from where the frost giants hail from, Jotunheim, freezing all within its path and turning the tide of battle. It can also fire a concentrated beam, as we saw when Loki used it on Heimdall and Frozen. However, the powerful weapon can also push an entire planet into an ice age, which makes this weapon pretty cool. We have another Asgardian weapon up next. The Hofund is a gigantic sword used by the all-seeing Heimdall. It looks like it would be a pain to drag around, yet Heimdall does it with ease. But the most important aspect that this sword is responsible for is the Bifrost. Hofund is the key to open the rainbow-patterned gateway to Asgard and the other realms. Without the Hofund to open the Bifrost, the trip to Asgard is near impossible. In Heimdall's final moments, he was able to send the Hulk to Earth in Infinity War, which gave Earth's heroes time to prepare for Thanos. Thanos was less impressed and slayed Heimdall. And for that ability, it makes the weapon really substantial. Along with the Eternal Flame, the Twilight Sword is another key element in Ragnarok. The prophecy states that when Surtur attacks Asgard, the entity will do so when armed with the sword. This weapon has a number of key factors that makes it special. For starters, it's on fire, which can be pretty devastating when striking its target. Next up, it can shoot fire at a target. This gives it a nice and hot distance attack to wreck foes. Finally, it increases its mass to accommodate the size that Surtur grows to when he lays siege to Asgard. It's also pretty handy on the defensive side. If Surtur was defeated, the Twilight Sword will disappear to stop the enemy from using it. The Twilight Sword only has eyes for Surtur. Spider-Man's web shooters are one of the most important tricks he has up his sleeve. See what we did there? Anyway, as we saw in the MCU, scientific genius Tony Stark was involved in the development of the shooters. Due to this, the web shooters are capable of a lot more than just firing webbing. The shooters can create 576 webbing variations. This gives Peter Parker a range of types of webbing to fix any potential problem that comes his way. The webbing is also extremely durable and strong. Spider-Man has saved the lives of many people thanks to the shooters. For example, he held a broken ship together in Homecoming by using webbing and his spider strength. Thanks to the web shooters, he can do so much more than a spider can. Gungnir is not only an immense weapon, it's also a powerful status symbol for the Norse gods. The ruler of Asgard, typically Odin, would be in possession of the spear. Odin was armed with the spear when defending Asgard in his legendary battles throughout the realms. Gungnir has a couple of interesting features. Firstly, it controls the frightening destroyer armor as we saw Loki do in the first Thor film. Secondly, Odin can use the spear to fire a blast of the potent Odin force. But that's not all. It can direct other forms of energy too, such as an energy capable of transporting someone long distances, just like when Odin sent Thor to Earth. It really is a jack of all spears. While Stormbreaker doesn't have the history of Mjolnir, it made an impact in its MCU debut. Stormbreaker is a hammer and axe hybrid, so instead of just using blunt force, it can cut into a target too. Beautiful. We even saw how strong this weapon is in Infinity War. With Thanos blasting energy at Thor, Stormbreaker cut through the energy to embed itself into Thanos. Meanwhile, Mjolnir was broken by Thor's sister, Hela. Stormbreaker is also able to channel energy to teleport the wielder and friends to another location. It's also partly made with Groot's limb. That might not affect the strength of the weapon, but it's a nice touch. Overall, Stormbreaker looks cooler and is stronger than Mjolnir. The Tesseract was one of the big weapons in the first Avengers film. The Tesseract is actually a device to house the Space Stone. However, due to its vast energy, not everyone can hold the blue cube. Only very strong characters have been able to hold it, such as Captain Marvel and Loki. The Tesseract has a couple of fun abilities. Firstly, it gives off an immense amount of energy so the cube can be used as a power source. But the second and more concerning is its ability to open up gateways anywhere in the universe. As we saw in the first Avengers film, armies of Chitauri were able to stroll through and invade Earth. This act alone makes sudden invasion a real possibility. Seemingly infinite and can be created from out of nowhere, the Necro Swords are the key item in Hela's bag. She can also create a fancy hat from nothing, but that's not really a weapon. Hela can manifest dark blades and fire them at her target. She was able to cut down a whole army of attacking Valkyries. It's tricky to defeat just one Valkyrie, let alone an army. Yet Hela made it look so easy. Only Brunhilde survived Hela's Necro Sword attack. Hela also went on a rampage through Asgard and defeated Asgardian after Asgardian, which included the Warriors 3. She fired off so many blades throughout the film that seemed to cut through almost anything. The Necro Swords made Hela into a terrifying force. Prior to the MCU, Ant-Man was considered a bit of a joke character. He wasn't taken seriously. However, the MCU has shown just what Ant-Man and the suit in particular is capable of. As you likely know, the suit can alter a person's size. This is all thanks to the PIM particles contained within it. The wearer can become giant or tiny, like an ant, the latter of which led to the Quantum Realm, which of course played a big role in saving the universe in Avengers Endgame. That alone makes the suit very powerful. The suit can also provide superhuman strength and durability. Finally, it can communicate with insects, which gives the wearers the potential to control an army of bugs, which will be extra eerie to anyone afraid of bugs. The Cloak of Levitation is the sentient sidekick to Doctor Strange. Aside from making Doctor Strange look dashing, it can also fight baddies. Like Harry Potter's wand, the cloak chose Strange as its new owner. As the cloak can act independently from the owner, it can be an important ally at a time of need. The cloak saved Strange's life many times in its first appearance. It has blocked incoming attacks and even attacked of its own accord. As Doctor Strange went on to figure out how to beat Thanos in Endgame, this makes the cloak an important asset. The cloak also allows Strange to fly a little, which is a pretty nice trick to have. A lot of enemies will underestimate this hidden weapon. The Yakka Arrow's main power is turning its owner into Mary Poppins.
You look like Mary Poppins. Is he cool?
The Yakka Arrow is the main weapon of Yondu. Along with the arrow's Mohawk controller, Yondu can whistle commands to the arrow. The arrow only responds to a specific whistle frequency. It will then attack different targets as well as change its speed. As we've seen in the two Guardians of the Galaxy films, it can be very destructive. It swept through hordes of people with ease. The arrow is also very precise. The whistling can cause it to stop sharply. It's also very strong and durable as it can easily hold Yondu up in the air. If Yondu and the Yakka Arrow are around in Infinity War and Endgame, Thanos' defeat would have happened a lot sooner. Thank you for making it all the way to the end of the video. Do you know of any other MCU destructive weapons? Which do you think is the most powerful? Drop your thoughts into the comments down below. Remember to subscribe and click the little bell to stay up to date with Screen Rant's content. We'll see you next time, true believers.